Hey, good morning, everybody. Sarasota Tim coming to you from beautiful John Prince Park right here in Lake Worth, Florida, / Lantana. The Lantana Municipal Airport is just over there a ways. There's lakes and stuff all around. This is a tremendously big park that I grew up here and came here for many years in high school at Lake Worth High School, which is in that direction. There's all kinds of playgrounds and pavilions, and there's a workout station right over there that you can go and work out using your own body weight. And there's just tons of stuff to do here and plenty of places to walk. There's a big trail over there that they've installed wood chips that you can walk around, and some shaded trees. It's great in the summertime. I've walked it before. We might go over there again today. And a lot of people are coming in, as you can see, enjoying the park on this Saturday morning. It's going to be a glorious day. The clouds are burning off. It's supposed to be very mild today. I'm having a cup of coffee. I'd like to thank all of you out there that have bought me a cup. And here's to you. This is the best cup of coffee I ever drank in my life. I love coffee. That's so good. So we're going to take a walk around, get a little exercise this morning, show you the park a little bit, and just have a good time. I thought this would bring you some good optics rather than sitting in the cab of the truck. I know that gets to be old, and we'll probably have a motivational devotional a little later. But right now we're going to talk and walk. So let's get to it. All right, so I decided not to get cheap on you guys and put the mic on because it is a little breezy out here and the winds could pick up. I just had a sneezing attack. I could not stop sneezing. So this is the direction you look at over there, looking over there. That's Congress Avenue, where you come into the park from one area that you come in at. There's several entrances to John Prince Park. And this is where county and city companies, county workers, city workers and stuff will host, amongst other people, huge picnics and things in the pavilion over there and cookouts and all that kind of thing. I've seen this place covered up with company picnics over the years. I'm enjoying my coffee. I'll be done with it in a minute. There's some restroom facilities right there, and that blue tent area is the workout station. Now I'll go ahead and zoom back in for you guys until it's necessary to put the fisheye on so you can get a little more realistic view of everything without everything looking so far away. We'll walk over here to the lake. And this is all part of Lake Osborne. Lake Osborne is a huge lake. It goes all over the place around through here. In fact, it goes into little finger canals through a subdivision where I was raised called Lake Clark Shores. And that's where I did a lot of water skiing and things like that growing up in high school. We used to actually pull each other on surfboards. We'd take the skeg off so we could actually do 360s and stuff. I'm going to go ahead and lose this cup so I can walk. Somebody's already claiming this pavilion here. They've got some stuff out. Oh yes, there comes the wind. That's good coffee. I got my walking shoes on. Not wearing the slides. So I'll be a little quieter and more sure-footed. But it's going to be a beautiful day. What do we want to talk about? Well, let's talk about the future. Let's talk about your future, my future. What are your goals? What are you thinking about doing? What are your immediate goals as far as travel, living a free life, not going to work Monday, but what are your hopes and admirations to be or to do when you retire Or if you are retired, what would you like to do? Would you like to travel, take cruises? You interested in RVing? I love it all. I was showing Tom and Lucy last night at dinner around the Tiki Hut. I was bringing up old pictures of mine of my Gold Wing I had 2 of them, well 3 or 4 of them actually. I had, let's see, a 1500, 2 1800s, 3 1800s. So I had 4 for sure. And I had a Softail Deuce Harley, and I had one Electra Glide. So I've had my share of motorcycles. And then when I moved to Teddy's, I came over from Sarasota. I had picked up a CFX. Some of you that have been following me may remember it was a red and white Honda dual sport that had saddlebags and everything. I was just going to run around with that around town here and save gas rather than driving the 4Runner. But I sold it because it just sat. And the people that had it before me, it just sat too. It had no miles on it. It's one of these things that you're going to ride it, but you don't. So if you don't know what a Softail Deuce is, that's a small Harley. It's not a big touring road bike like the Electra Glide and the Honda Gold Wings. So I tried to like it. I tried to put a windshield on it and make it where I could travel and do things like that, but it never worked out. It was never really meant to be that kind of a bike, so I simply sold it. And then I was showing them some pictures of this Honda Civic Si. The Civic Si is a rare model. It's only manual transmission. It's a 6-speed. It has the VTEC motor. It's a bigger motor than the standard Civic. And it has a special suspension, looks, wheels and tires, and interior decorations and things like that. And I actually used to take that up to the mountains when I lived in Atlanta and ride what they call the Dragon. The Dragon is a famous place up in North Carolina where you can take your motorcycles or sports cars and ride this twisty road. There's no side streets for cars to come out on you. And I might have talked about it before. Anyway, I was going through a midlife crisis. I bought that. It had these Recaro seats that hug you. And I used to ride with a group of guys in the middle of the night when there was no other traffic, in the winter when motorcycles weren't up there and nobody was up there in the middle of the night. All the trees had no leaves on them, and we could see through the turns. And what we would do is we would put our high beams on, all of us, and we would turn our rear view mirrors up so we wouldn't blind each other and light up the road as much as possible. And we would race through the Dragon, and we would take pride in staying in our lane and not crossing the yellow. So we thought we were race car drivers. One guy had a 280Z, another guy had a Subaru WRX. I had the Civic Si. Someone else had this Mini Cooper, the sport model, the S model, and other things, other cars. So I did that for a while, and traveling back and forth across the United States is something that I've done my entire life, including with my family, not just my own travels. It's been California to Florida, California to Georgia, back and forth, my entire life. And seeing the country from the highway, you know, I have all these memories, and taking these trips on my motorcycle and stuff. And then I took 2 more in my car in the most recent years. One with my sister, which was a phenomenal trip of 21 days, and we split everything. It was an amazing, economical, fantastic voyage all the way to California, up Big Sur, Tahoe, Grand Canyon, Death Valley, the whole thing, all the way back to Georgia. And she lives in Charleston, so she went her way, and then I left Atlanta, our meeting zone, and I came back to Boynton. Actually, Sarasota is where I was living at that time. So here I go again. I buy a Wolf Pup camper. Along comes a pandemic and puts me out of business. I'm a couple of years away, year and a half away from collecting Social Security. I had all these plans of what I was going to do, and of course we always say, tell God what your plans are if you want to make him laugh. And but the plans worked out. The plan was, you know, travel and do different things, try to grow my YouTube channel. And whether it grew or not, I just wanted to travel and do what I've done my entire life. It's just in my blood. And I had been idle for quite a while, living in Sarasota in a condo next to Fred and Rafaela, which was nice, but I was ready for something else. And so when this thing came along called a pandemic, put us all out of business, give us 2 weeks to flatten the curve, all that business. Then they started raising the rent, and I said, I'm out. I will never pay that much money. I'm sure you guys don't have a problem believing that, because I am cheap and I do not justify a dwelling to cost me close to with utilities, $2,000 a month. Every 30 days, here's $2,000 for you. No. So I didn't know what I was going to do. But God delivered me this trailer, camper, called a Wolf Pup. Turns out it's one of the most popular little campers there is for small campers. You guys love it. I hear it in the comments all the time. Should have kept the Wolf Pup. Should have kept the 4Runner. You had it going on. Meanwhile, when I had that, I had a lot of people telling me, you're living in a trailer in someone's driveway. You know, you hear both sides. It doesn't matter. I was doing what I wanted to do. And I didn't do the traveling, kept talking about it, became property manager and was watching over everything. Ted and Jolene were in New York. I was miserable in the summer there. This is one hot place. June, July, and August, you don't want to be here, folks. If you can get out of Dodge, you got the money, you got somewhere to go, go. This place is no place to be. Today, it's the only place to be. It's so amazing here right now. Sorry, I'm sniffling. Anyway, so God had a plan still, and I kept thinking about traveling and seeing the country again. I've been jonesing. It's been too many years. T-O-O-O-O-O, many years that I haven't been out west and seen the desert, the mountains, the rock, the cactus. I watch YouTube videos. I see this place called Quartzsite, Arizona, where all the RVs go and converge in the wintertime. And they, you know, trying to get out of the snow and ice. And they're there right now. They're there right now. It's like a Woodstock. Someone said in the comments, it's not Woodstock. Okay. Well, there's a lot of campers there. How about that? A ton of them. And it's BLM land, Bureau of Land Management. It's free. Most of it. There are places you can pay for next to nothing and have trash and water. And I mean, it's like next to nothing. And I would, you know, if I was going to stay there, I'd go that route. But there's all these supplies and everything, and someone said, it's not near Tucson. Well, it's somewhere around there. It's Yuma, Tucson, somewhere in Arizona is Quartzsite. Look it up. So I've been always wanting to go and check it out. Good morning. And see what it's about, you know, and take the RV. So I sit there at Ted and Jolene's every day. I picked up a little side hustle. After a year of not doing anything, I got bored. I ran into this lady that was handing out samples in a Publix, and I asked her about it. She was dressed all dapper, and she says, yeah, here, I'll give you the number. I'll call the lady right now. And the lady was like, oh, would you do it for me? I mean, I'm looking for people. You know, they'll hire you. What's it called? They're out of Texas. And so anyway, you know, I did that. A lot of you guys know. And that was fun. I mean, you wear a vest, you dress up nice and dapper. You go out to the Publixes and different places. They have wine and beer and liquor events too. occasionally. That pays a little bit more. It's a 3-4 hour gig. And then hence the side hustle term. And all of a sudden now I'm like, hey, I got this extra money coming in with my Social Security of $1,700. And all of a sudden, this found money, and I've always been debt free, is like stacking up on top of the money, you know, that I already have. You got to remember, folks, I did work for myself for 33 years. I had an advertising business. You know, I wasn't put out of business during the pandemic and I was broke. You know, I've been working for myself for 33 years and I've been a minimalist that entire time. I was a roommate for most of my life. After being divorced years ago, I became a roommate and I paid $500, I think $600 was later in years that I finally ended up paying somebody all in with all utilities and everything. And after the pandemic, you can't even find a roommate now that's anywhere close to that. I mean, most people want $1,000 a month to rent a room. Everything has changed. But I enjoyed the living in a beautiful home in a subdivision with a, that guy didn't even warn me when he went by, with a professional. I was the only additional person in the home. I didn't want to rent a roommate situation where people had, you know, 2 or 3 others living in there. That was just going to be drama, problems. One would leave. Maybe they didn't meet their share of the utilities or rent, and that would be passed on to us, or I don't know what it was going to be, but, you know, sharing a bathroom I was never going to do. So when I talk about living in the camper like I've done, you know, by myself, that's like total privacy. And that made me where I would never be a roommate again. Having the wolf pup was a complete change of attitude, because I was like, the roommate thing was fine because I was just the only one, and the individual that owned the home worked, and I stayed sequestered to myself. I didn't use the kitchen. I didn't bother anybody. I walked softly. I turned doorknobs quietly. I kept my volume, my TV quiet. I never brought anybody over. I didn't drink or smoke in those days, even though you saw me in videos a year ago, partying like an animal, drinking my vodka and my wine. For 10 years or more, I didn't drink, you know, in my life a couple of times. So I've been a non-drinker probably half as much in my life. Well, more, because when I was under 18, I couldn't drink. So I've been a non-drinker more in my life than I have been a drinker. So I don't want anything to do with it anymore. I just got no use for it. Especially being more cognizant of, you know, living a longer life as long as I can, and keeping my health going and my maturity level and things like that. So back to the story. After getting the camper, I was convinced I would never roommate again. And I said, this is all I need. I don't need to rent an apartment. I don't need a house. This is great. This is really great. And I like going to RV parks and campgrounds and things like that, where I can meet other people and like-minded people. But I ended up staying where I was, at Teddy and Jolene's. And then the YouTube channel started growing, started talking about Social Security, algorithm picked me up. The stories, you know, the rest is history. Picked up some subscribers. The channel is monetized, there is revenue coming in, and I was able to quit the Publix gigs, and I decided that I would take a trip in October for the entire month up in the North Carolina mountains, because I had said for 2 years staying at Ted and Jolene's I would never stay another summer. Now, of course, October wasn't summer, but still, I just decided that was the time that I wanted to go and see the fall leaf colors and all that, and that was a great time. You guys saw the videos. So there I go. I take off. I take the wolf pup, and I had bought the Tundra because we took the Wolf Pup on one trip, and I remember getting on the freeways where that thing was screaming to try to get it up to 55 miles an hour. The 4Runner is a very formidable, awesome vehicle off-roading by itself. It is not a tow vehicle. It would yank the bushwhacker around like it's not even back there. But the Wolf Pup, even at 4,000 or 5,000 pounds, it was at its match because it only had a 5,000 pound towing capacity, and supposedly you're only supposed to, you know, tow 70% of that rating to be, you know, cool. Anyway, got the Tundra and grabbed the Wolf Pup, hooked it up, took off, went to, I got to get away from these noisy people coming up behind me, running and screaming. So anyway, got up there, enjoying the colors, the fall leaves, and I just by luck went to an RV place and, you know, fell in love with the what's it called? The Crasher, the Flagstaff. And I bought it. And it was fortuitous that I had the Wolf Pup with me to trade. Everything is God's plan. He works it in his own timing. To me, it was 2 years in the making. To God, it was 2 seconds. He saw the beginning and the end. He said, this is where, listen to these kids. They got nothing to do but scream. They're not even kids, they're just screamers. I don't know if you can hear them in the microphone, but it's annoying. So, and these planes. Here's a helicopter. That's why I put the mic on. Hopefully you won't hear it as bad. It's kind of a noisy place. The airport never ends. They just buzz around all day doing touch and goes. So then I come back to Ted and Jolene's with the Flagstaff. And another big, what do you call it? A crossroads. Crossroads of my life. A crossroads of my life that most of you have surmised without elaboration to the change. And the change, although it not necessarily being the change that you wanted or thought would happen or needed to be or wished you couldn't or whatever, you can't stop what, you know, we're all passing through in this world. So it happened, and now here I am where I can do what I want to do, and I don't have to, you know, cater or hope the other person is interested, that's like-minded, or I gotta walk the other way from these people. You know, I just can do what Tim wants to do. And it's not selfish, it's just living the life that I'm entitled to live. I sacrificed a lot of my life in different parts of it. Regretfully, I wish I had those years back. However, at the same time, I probably, if it changed or altered the travels and the things that I've learned in my life, I probably wouldn't wish anything any different. So, here we are. Now we've got a new chapter, hopefully not the final chapter. And like we talk about, we're older now. I'm 65. Yesterday, I started collecting my Social Security at 62. We talk about how you go from 62 to 67 in 5 years. Your gizzards, this and that, things change, your attitude, your health, your looks, your whole life, like a child from 12 to 17. And I'm experiencing it. Although mentally, I'm still very young and still very quite active. I need to get my act together. The eye thing is stopping me from doing lifting and all that. I sit there and I eat and I don't do the exercises that I used to do religiously at the gym every day because I'm an active gym person. I can melt this off in 2 weeks with a strict diet and good exercise. I really can. But anyway, we talk about how things change. Now here I am in this new chapter, and God has opened a door for me with a new camper. And then, what did he say? But that's not the one you're going to travel in. You're going to travel in a coffin, in a camper. And I say, really? And then again, now I've been squatting in it for a week or so. I really love it, folks. I really do. It's got more than I need for comfort. I have all the ways of, you know, air conditioning and heat, and then the galley out back to cook, and screen rooms and other things to change and sit in inclement weather. Simplicity, easy to pack, easy to tow, easy to go. And I can pull it down roads where I would never pull the Crasher down. And maybe in these national forests and stuff that I may discover through meeting people that can tell me, hey, we were over here, go try this out. Maybe I'll do that. I don't know. But what happened? Let me back up. We were just talking about what happens at 62 to 67. Your gizzards wear out, your eyeballs wear out. So my eyeball wore out. I need a new bearing in my eyeball. And I've had the glaucoma apparently for years and never went to the doctor. You don't notice glaucoma, you don't feel anything with glaucoma. You just start gradually losing your peripheral. So here we go. And we discover that your pressure is high. And he tells me to get this surgery, and I say, okay. And then I postponed the surgery because there was money involved that I didn't think I should pay. I had a little difference of opinion with the office manager, and I delayed. And I was on Obamacare at the time. I was only a few months away from being 65, 5 or 6 months, whatever it was, and getting my Medicare Disadvantage plan. And then, boom, get the Medicare Disadvantage plan, puts money back into my Social Security. I didn't lose that $175 that I was fretting to lose. Very important. I mean, that's the rest of your life. Now, there's no guarantee that next year that plan won't change and that won't go away. There's a very good possibility that Humana will say, we don't do that anymore, or we're only going to give you $50 or $100. In fact, I already know if I go to Jacksonville, it is only $100. It's not even $150. So I'm already prepared for that. I get the Disadvantage plan, and I go to the doctor, and he's like, man, your eye pressure is so high, you got to do this surgery. And there's only a 50 or 60% chance of success, but it's a very low risk as far as, you know, something happening. And my pressure shot up after, you know, post-surgery, so there is risk. And I almost went blind. But God was there again, and I was in town. I didn't take off. I didn't go to Jacksonville. I didn't start traveling. And now I'm back under control, back around where people care about me and are helping me. And so here we are. Now that brings us today. Now I'm just at the starting line. I haven't left yet. And I got this new little RV. But there's a little hiccup because I'm a little older, and he saw the eye situation come, and so here I am. I got the medical. I'm going to try and get it in check and begin. And so I can't tell you what the future holds later today or tomorrow because nobody's promised that. So I can only be optimistic about the future. But more importantly, what I was going to say is at this point in my life, not only do I have God, which is the number one, I have a community. I believe that in my travels, if I were to reach out and say, hey, I need a little helping hand here, that someone that watches me anywhere in the United States that I might be, that's not too far away, would come and help. And that's very comforting, and that's very good to know. Oh, so now what else? I think that's about wrapping it up. It's a long video for you. I'm getting a little exercise. I could use a lot more. The weather is absolutely perfect for walking. You're not sweating, low humidity, going through the shade here. It's really nice. And this is a great place to come and get a little walk. Like I said, there's the wood chips over here. I've walked many miles through there for sure. And the only thing I know is Yesterday is gone. Tomorrow's not promised to anybody. Today's the day to get out and crush those wood chips.